So if you're about to sit for your optional papers, this is the right video for you. Lessons learned the hard way. Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Belinda. Afro Girl Diaries is all about academia, career and lifestyle content. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome. Thanks for supporting this channel. You know the drill. Like, share with anyone who you think might benefit from this video. So today's video is an addition to the ACCA series. I will be talking about the optional papers, things that you need to look out for when you're sitting for the optional papers. So for those of you who are not aware, towards the end of your ACCA journey, when you're tackling the strategic professional level, you have two mandatory papers, but then you get to choose two optional papers. And at this point is when people tend to, I guess, choose what they want to specialize in and sit for those papers. Now, it's the final leg. You might think that you've been through it all, you're a pro now. You'd be very surprised. So in this last exam session, I was retaking the APM and the AAA exams. Both of them, I had attempted them before. And I can tell you, I have learned the hard way. And this is what exactly I wanted to highlight in this video. I wanted to just be frank with you because it's really hard. Getting ACCA is not a walk in the park. And there's some things that we learned, some of us who have already done it, who have been ahead of you maybe in your career journey, if in your ACCA journey, if you're just about to sit for your optional papers. There's some things we've learned, and why not share them? You don't have to repeat them. You might as well know them way ahead of time, and you might just have an easier journey than some of us. So, selecting your papers. As I just mentioned, I sat for my AAA and APM exams. Those were the two options that I went for. Of course, there is also advanced tax and advanced financial management. Those are the other two options that you can go for. The reason I chose those two is because they were the most closely linked to my career. So I'm a risk consultant, so automatically advanced audit and assurance would be a suitable one for me. Also advanced performance management, in that there are a lot of things we advise clients on, which are to do with, it's always the end goal for all clients is always to improve their performance, help them achieve all their strategic objectives. So APM just seemed as the most natural choice. And anyway, you can always use you can rely on how you felt when you're preparing for the lower level papers. So all of us get to do financial management. We all get to do performance management. We all get to do audit and assurance in the applied skills level. I think it's applied skills level, yeah. So we all get to do at least level 1 of each of these papers. We all get to do tax as well. So you can have a feel of, did I really enjoy revising for that paper? Is it something that I'm happy to take to the next level? Because one thing I'll let you know for free, they are hard. They go in, like, you know that you just touched base when you were doing that applied skills level. This level, you need to choose an option that you're happy revising for to the depth that is required in the advanced level. Because I can tell you, they want you to be an expert. They don't want you to just know principles, models, theorems here and regurgitate them in the exam. No, they want you to literally be ready for industry. That is what they're trying to do with this ACCA. So please choose an option that you'll enjoy reading. Of course, balance of what's needed in your workplace plus what you'll enjoy reading. Because as I tell you, as I'll say in my next point, it is hard. Going on to my next point, depth. A lot of depth is needed in your answer. This is something that I struggled with, something that a lot of us struggle with. And what I mean by this is, at this level, when you're answering your questions, the examiner wants you to literally break down your answer to the most detail that you can provide. So maybe you're most likely going to be presented with a case study. 10 out of 10 times you're given a case study. So
an example of a company going through something, or you're given basically the background of the company. By the way, it's just started raining, so I don't know if this is going, you can hear this in the video, but yeah, that's where the sudden noise has come from. But yeah, typically when you're doing the optional papers, you'll be presented with a case study. You'll be given the background of that company and what it is that the CEO wants you to do. Or it could be, if you're doing audit, it could be that you're part of an audit firm and you're helping with audit of a certain company. Now, they will ask you, the CEO will ask you to maybe discuss why balanced scorecard or a certain model is appropriate for this situation, because they're facing a dilemma, right? There's always something. So you could be there, you're like, yes, balanced scorecard, this is exactly what I revised this morning, let's do it. And you regurgitate what you read in the book. That might only earn you 2 marks out of a 25-mark question or a 50-mark question. Yes, just stating the principle does not carry weight in the advanced level. What they want you to do is show that you know the principle or the model, so state it. Then apply it to the client's scenario. So it could be balanced scorecard, maybe their current performance reporting only covers financial ratios, so they need to consider other things other than their financial performance, diversity, blah blah blah. I don't want to go into just APM stuff, it's just at the front of my mind because I just did the APM paper. But the point is, you state the model, you apply it to the client's situation or context. That's just not enough. Make sure you use an example to literally demonstrate the principle in use. After that, give a conclusion. I was so surprised. I thought that you can just, state the model, apply, link it to the scenario, and that's it. No, at this level, they expect you to be so good with your details that you now know what is the right decision to be made. So what I would advise you, as someone who has recently done this, tried to practice past papers and looked at the marking schemes, etc., they want you to give your opinion. They want you to look at it kind of like from a consultant's point of view, where you're an expert, you're a subject matter expert, you're brought in, you break down, the situation, state this is a possible alternatives, blah, 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 and have a conclusion. Now, this is not the case for each question, but in because most of the advanced papers, they'll have a 50-mark question and then they'll have 25, so 3 questions. The first question normally needs a conclusion. It's normally in the form of even a report or briefing notes. They want you to be like a commercial subject matter expert. So you're not just there, just a student. They want you to talk from a professional point of view. I hope that was clear. But from all that, if there's something that you just need to take away, is a lot of depth is needed in your answer. And that's a big, big step up from the papers that you did at applied skills level that were on the same topic. All right. Next thing I wanted to, that I've kind of stated in the part for depth, they want your opinion. So don't shy away. Sometimes you want to be politically correct and all that. If there's something that's standing out, give your opinion. That's what shows the examiner that you really know your things. You really know you have substance in your answer. So give your opinion. Don't shy away from giving your opinion. But of course, it's not an emotional thing. It's something that should be based on facts that are either in the context or in the model, like principles of the model that you're applying to your answer. Now, caveat, I'm speaking all this based on the optional papers I've done. Maybe tax is a little bit different, but normally in case study, you normally have to give something to that CEO. You have to say what should they do. So it might apply, but just know that I'm speaking from an APM and a AAA perspective. Next thing you need to think about is time. Now, in all my papers since I started ACCA, the time just never seems to be enough. But if there is something that gets even worse, at advanced level, guys, I don't know where the time goes. Now, for you to survive this exam, you need to allocate maximum time you're going to spend on each question. Now, there'll be, I've just realized my filler word in this video is now. I've used it a lot. Bear with me. But basically, you will realize that there are a lot more things to explain than the time allocated to that question. So the question could be, discuss the significant audit risks that the audit engagement partner needs to consider when they're planning the audit. There could be an example of 20 risks, but the marks are only 15. Don't spend too much time there explaining each and every audit risk because that's what the question has asked. No, look at the marks. Spend your effort should be proportional to the marks available for that question. So please trust me, I have done this where I've spent time. I'm like, no, for sure there's this obvious mark here, but maybe you already earned it through your previous answers. So move on to the next question. And if there's time towards the end, go back and add in the extra points. But you don't want to be in a situation, and I'm saying from experience, you don't want to be in a situation where you spend too much time on one question, then you get to the final question, you only have 15 minutes to answer it, yet it's a question that needs 45 minutes minimum, and it's a question you knew the answer to. So you spent so much time trying to add 5 marks to another question, and this other question is 25 marks, and you're only spending 15 minutes on it. You don't do it justice. So trust me when I tell you, if the time has run out for that question, move on. It doesn't mean you don't know additional answers for it. You will get back to it, but you're trying to gather marks from each and every part. You cannot just get it from a 15-mark question. Distribute your effort based on the weighting of marks. And by the way, it's not a pity party, by the way. It's not bad. It's just that it's not easy. Like ACCA, when you see people adding ACCA to their suffix of their names, I hope I said that correctly, it's because they earned it, guys. Hey, I'm shooting this video literally a day after my exam, so the energy is fresh. But I'm telling you the truth, it's not easy. It is not easy. Next point. That exam room is like Hunger Games. You are fighting for your marks. So I'm going to say, so this is a point that has a lot of points under it. But the points underneath it are just tips that I would share, that I have. I'm clearly already sharing it. Tips that I have to help you get more marks. So, gather easy marks. Normally, in advanced level papers, the first question is usually a 50-mark question, and that question requires you to provide your answer in a professional format. So it will be a report, briefing notes. I've only come across those two. A memo. You're responding to an email. Now, you clearly know the answers, right? Okay, you know the answer, but make sure you structure it in the format they've asked for. So the CEO has said, write a report to the board. You can get very easy marks by just structuring your answer in the form of a report. They're usually 4 marks. And this could be the difference between you getting 49, 48, and you getting the pass mark. So don't push it to the side. It's important for you to structure your answer. So if it's a report, do the usual 2 from, because it's normally a report that in which you're responding to that person through email. So you'll do 2 from, date, if they've given you at least a date in the case study, subject, yeah, and then introduction, then the normal parts where A, B, C, the parts of the question you're answering, and then a conclusion. That might earn you 4 extra marks that you just need to pass that exam. Get them. Get the easy marks is the point, basically. Next thing, if you're given numerical data in a question, it's for a reason. Use it. Guys, as in there's some marks that are so easy to get. We spend so much time thinking of this big paragraph that you're going to write to get the marks, when there's some marks that are right in your face. If you've been given some financial statements, you've been given,
an extract of their performance dashboard, use it. They want you to calculate trends. They want you to notice that between this year and last year, the revenue has increased by 5%. Now, maybe you are going to write a point about revenue. There's a risk revenue is overstated. There's a risk, of fraudulent reporting. Support that. That's what you read in your book. Those principles. Support those big statements, theoretical statements with real data. Think about it in real life. In the office, if you're going to go and present to your client or something like that, they don't want you to just come with statements out of the blue. They want you to support it with the data. So the data has been given to you to add depth to your answer. You see, we're together. Depth is everything. So use the data if it's provided. It's there for a reason. Not just data. They might state a situation the company is facing, and maybe they don't necessarily ask the question directly related to the situation. That situation is there for a reason. They've not just stated it to fill in and fill in the appendices. They've stated it so that you use it either as an example. You can add it to your answer as an example of you applying the model to the scenario. So if you're given information, use it. I will finish this off with also, when you're calculating your numerical data, show your workings, because sometimes out of maybe frustration, fatigue, you miss a decimal point somewhere, or you just do a stupid mistake. If you showed your working, maybe there's a final figure, but then the small components of that final figure, you get it right, but you miss one. You'll get the points for the things that you've demonstrated, you've calculated. So don't do it somewhere offline on your rough paper and just stick the final figure or score, whatever, in your response. No. Make use of that spreadsheet if you're using computer-based exams. Make use of that spreadsheet and literally break down. Give the examiner more opportunities to give you marks. It is Hunger Games in that exam, guys. It is a struggle for marks. You'd be so surprised. You think you've written your answer and it's worth so much. Only for you, in the marking scheme, you spent, I don't know how long writing a paragraph, but the paragraph is only worth 3 marks. And it's a 10-mark question. It's how it is. It's very subjective. The marking is very subjective. So you want to increase opportunities of you getting marks. And that's it. I did not make this video to discourage you. I just want you to know the truth, that it's not a walk in the park. I have learned some things the hard way. I have had situations where I got 49. Literally, you're wondering, the hell? 1 mark. So these are things I've learned the hard way. And this is just for you to have an easier journey. Let's get this accreditation. You've come this far for a reason. You didn't come this far to give up. So wishing you all the best in your ACCA journey, and hope you get your accreditation in the end. So if you have certain topics that you'd like me to cover, certain things you want me to focus on, I'm happy to hold a Q&A or even include it in the playlist as a future video. So make sure to drop your questions, your comments, your feedback in the comment section in the video below. Bye, till next time.